ಹಾಯ್ ಹಲೋ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರು. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ನ್ಯೂ ಅವತಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಪ್ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟೆಡ್, ಅಮೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಫೇವ್ರೆಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲ್ಲ. 2011 ಲೈಫು ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ 2013 ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಕೆರಿಯರ್ ಸೈಕಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಥ್ರಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಲೂಸಿಯಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡಿ 2016 ಯೂಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕನ್ನಡ, ತಮಿಳ್, ತೆಲುಗು ಮಾಡಿ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೀಗ ನೆಟ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಒನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಪವನ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪವನ್, ಹಾಯ್, ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಶೋ.
ಹಲೋ.
ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ರಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ?
ಒಂದೂವರೆ ವರ್ಷ ಬಿನ್ ಹೈದ್ರಾಬಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸುಮಾರು 8-9 ತಿಂಗಳು, ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 6 ತಿಂಗಳು. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 2 ಮಂತ್ಸಿಂದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಯೂಟರ್ನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ತೆಲುಗು, ತಮಿಳ್ ಹೋದ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಈ ನೆಟ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಅಂತ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮುಂಚೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ನೋ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ತೆಲುಗು, ತಮಿಳ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ನೆಟ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಸ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಟೀಮ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋ ರನ್ನರ್ ಅಂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಉರ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಲೂಸಿಯಾ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದರು ತುಂಬ ಹಿಂದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಟಚ್ಚಲ್ಲಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಶೀ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಶೋ ರನ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲೇಲಾ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವಾಗ ದೇ ವರ್ ಸ್ಕೌಟಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಮೈ ನೇಮ್ ಪಾಪ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಇಟ್.
ನಾನು ಶೋನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಐವ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್, ಆಲ್ಫ್ರೆಡ್ ಹಿಚ್ಕಾಕ್ ಹೇಳಿರೋಂಥದ್ದು, ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಫಿಲಮ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ 3 ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಯು, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೋಸ್ 3 ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್?
Common sense.
Can you elaborate what is that common sense?
I mean, over the time, I think the same question a couple of years ago would have been a different answer.
Okay.
Sometimes it would have been a story. Sometimes it would have been, now at this age, with this experience, I feel it has to be, it's ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದು ಬೇಕಾಗೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್. ವೈ ಆರ್ ಯು ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್? I would say 2, what are you trying to say in the film? What is it that you're trying to communicate to your viewers? And third one is, somewhere I've come into the zone of being responsible. I strongly feel a filmmaker, it's a huge, powerful medium. It has such strong impressions on people who watch a film. So I think somewhere responsibility. You're responsible for what you're incepting in their heads. So it is a huge responsibility. So ನನಗೀಗ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, somewhere these 3 things I feel is so important. Like a tripod. So my movies have 3 things. So for my movies to be really balanced, and whether the audience see it or not, I should see it. I should be convinced. Absolutely. So which is why I'm taking time and doing it only because I should feel like doing it, not because someone's given me the job to do it.
To just like a quick recap, 2001 ಲೈಫು ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ ಆದಮೇಲೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ನೆಟ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಗೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತಂದಮೇಲೆ, ಡು ಯು ಫೀಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಿಶ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನನ್ನ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ?
So the journey ಬಂದು actually not 2011, it started with 2008. ಭಟ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಲಗೋರಿ ಬರೀತಾ, ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ 10 years. ಸೊ ಈ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಇವತ್ತು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಹೌ ದ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆಫ್ 1 decade. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ನಾನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ವಿತ್ ವಾಸನೆ ಬಾಬು to be an actor ಅಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟರ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ವಾಸನೆ ಬಾಬು ಬಂತು, ಬಟ್ ಇಂತಿನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಹಿಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. So then I slowly realized, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ, whether it's good or bad, what matters is whether a film is hit or not. ಅದು ಹಿಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡೀಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೋ ಯೂಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಮೇಲೆ, ಸೊ ಲಗೋರಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಮನಸಾರೆ, ಪಂಚರಂಗಿ, ಆಲ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಚ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಲೈಫು ಇಷ್ಟೇ. ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್, ಐ ರಿಯಲಿ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್. ನನಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ nothing was fixed. It was every one step ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ one step, so I come up and then I realize, okay, next what should I do? So Lucia was crowdfunding, adella yaar ankondiದ್ರು. It's like there was no idea of it. It was very organically ಈ ಒಂದು ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಿಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಓಕೆ ಹೌ ಡು ಐ ರಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, ಹೌ ಡು ಐ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಇಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವೆಂಟ್ ಆನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್.
So you mean to say like nothing was planned ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ at least initially you thought like you'll be an actor?
No, I started like 2000 when I got into theatre and all that. It was always as an actor, but as an actor I figured that I was not happy with, I mean, one, I was terrible at auditions, so nobody would cast me. So I figured, okay, if nobody's casting me, then let me do my own work. So avaga writing, direction anta to support as an actor shuru agiddu. But later everybody's feedback, adar jotege nanage kuda I started liking the idea of creating something. So I think I moved into writing, directing early into theatre itself. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಫಿಲ್ಮಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಭಟ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಗುಡ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ 3 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ನಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಎವೆನ್ಚುಲಿ ಐ ನ್ಯೂ ಐ ವುಡ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೂವೀಸ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿನೇ ಮೂವೀಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು. ಐ ಸ್ಪೆಂಟ್ ಅ ಇಯರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಮೂವೀಸ್ 2006 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ 2007 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿನ ಒಂದು 2-3 ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಏನು.
See why I said initially an upcoming director interviewing you ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ there are a lot of things which ನನ್ನಂತವರು ಕೂಡ ನೋಡ್ತಿರೋ ಅಂತಾರೆ, they can gain. So ಒಂದು ವರ್ಷ if you said like only films ನೋಡ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ what did you do?
I mean what ಅಂದ್ರೆ it's not like ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು as a timetable ಅಲ್ಲ, it was more like you were waiting for things to happen. I mean I was waiting for probably to get some movie to act, I was waiting for some play to happen.
Okay.
But there's a lot of waiting time. ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ I used to watch movies, but watch ಅಂದ್ರೆ it used ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಥಿಯೇಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಒಂದು ಮೂವಿ ನೋಡೋದಲ್ಲ. I used to then get DVDs. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ I used to watch a movie. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ I used to watch the making. I used to watch the same movies with the director's commentary. So I used to get these rent out original DVDs. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ director's commentary ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ. So that was more like my school.
I think precisely if you see 2013 is when Lucia got released. So you're always ahead of thinking anta is what our industry people say. Andre this whole fund of crowdfunding actually ಆ ಟರ್ಮೇ ಕೇಳಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್, ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಲೈಕ್ ವೆಂಟ್ ಅಹೆಡ್ ಸೆಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಕ್ರೌಡ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಜನ ಫಂಡ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಬಸ್ಟರ್ ಹಿಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಪೇಡ್ ದೆಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ. How did this whole thought process?
No, it was only resolving every problem. Okay. Nothing was envisioned. It was Lucia ಬರ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ it just felt like okay, how do we do it? ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ಲಾಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ it was a much healthier space. It was not like today. So you could talk something on Facebook, you could talk something on Twitter, and you would get healthy response back. So it was more like you were really talking to people. Okay. So although it got into a conversation online, and it was not my idea, it was people who commented saying that why don't we put money. We didn't even know the term crowdfunding, I didn't even know the word till I got the money and somebody said that this is what it's called anta. So then it was just people saying why don't we put money. Then I said okay, then I'll put a map to it, so aವಾಗ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು 50 lakhs ತಗೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೊಂದು DVD ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡೋದು. I never thought it will become a theatrical release. Whatever it did, adella it was every step that took us one step forward. That nothing was planned. Like a premiere in London was not even dreamt of. Forget.
This is the first Kannada film to happen over there. And I mean, it's my personal experience, I should say. Like last year, I won a Saima award for the best director. It's a short film. So Tarun Bhaskar, he presented me that award. So like while I was having a conversation with him, I said like, so Kannadadalli madidini, I have done a film. Oh, Kannada. So that means Pawan Kumar. Do you know Pawan Kumar? For a minute, I felt like Kannada films andre, he's saying like Pawan Kumar. So that's a big pride moment ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು, saying like okay, Pawan Kumar ಕನ್ನಡ ಫಿಲಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Pawan Kumar ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಆ ಥರ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. How do you feel ಈ ಥರ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ?
I feel very falsely glorified actually.
I've been trying to be modest.
No, I'm not. The fact is I was seeing ತುಂಬ ಅಂದರೆ ನನಗೆ ಡೇವಿಡ್ ಫಿಂಚರ್ ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ 7 ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ 7 ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಡ್ ಪಿಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾರ್ಗನ್ ಫ್ರೀಮನ್ದು. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇಟ್ 2007 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ರನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಈಗ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅದಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಟ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಪಪ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಹೊಸದು ಯಾವುದೂ ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್. And I remembered how it was one of my favorite films. and he made it in 1995. Okay, and we are in 2019, and we are not even 5% closer to making something like that. Okay, forget. So when people say ahead of time,
Thanks.
I don't find. I mean, it's like I still feel we are glorifying mediocrity. I feel my work is very mediocre when you compare to world cinema, and we have decided to glorify ourselves, saying that we are very good. But the truth is, we are way behind. You know, it's and we are seeing other mediocre work and saying, oh, I'm better than that mediocre work. But we are not looking at the bigger picture. I mean, 95 only if they could do. And I'm not saying Seven is the greatest movie. It was one of good films.
Good films.
There are much better films, and which have been done over. I'm saying, what is holding us back? I mean, why are we... So that is why when someone says, I mean, okay, Lucy agid takshana, you as a human being, you enjoy the attention you get. UTurn admele, you enjoy the attention. But after, when you reflect, when you look at your own work, you feel, I mean, I have the same brain, I have the same, I mean, it should be much better than what we have done. So I hate when I get these accolades. I'm like, okay, thank you, but I think the journey is
But we have never hated, actually. I mean, personal experience. The minute when I got to hear that saying like, okay, Kannada and the Pawan Kumar, I was like, wow. So Pawan, which one do you choose? Directing a movie or a Netflix series?
Directing a movie.
Okay, and why?
Nanige, wow. I think somewhere the movie gives you a kick of whether what you tried saying has worked or not. It's a clear, because of you andre adralli ondu ide litmus test tara. If the audience are coming and watching your film, they are telling it to their friends to watch the film, so it means it has worked. In a series, you don't get to sense that.
Okay.
ಈಗ ನಾವೇ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು, I mean, as a maker, I think those series will reach out probably in today's time to a lot more people.
Correct. Yeah.
And it stays there for a longer time. But I think ನನಗೂ ಈ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ I feel the kick that I get from making a 2-hour film is nicer for me.
So you mean to say people like us, do you advise us to stick to films or like...
It's a individual journey, I mean, eventually...
It depends on individual, yeah.
If you are a writer yourself, series is a great medium because you get that many extra hours to write. Filmal, you have a 2.5 hour limit, so you have to be very precise with how you write scenes. But if you always felt that I like to write more scenes, more character exploration, a series gives you that platform.
Good that you got the point, writer and writing or writing. ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಯು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಒಂದು ರೈಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೇರ್ ಡು ವಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ?
Zero. Sadly, I mean, in fact, in my initial, like I said, I wanted to get into acting. And then Bhatru Jote, when I wrote Lagori Pancharangi Manasare, so he kept saying, Avaga, I'm talking 10 years ago, that screenwriting is very ignored in industry. It's a stream which is so important, it's ignored. You have good instinct to write, you should stick to screenwriting. So when you stick to screenwriting 3 years, I figured nobody cares. Whether you write, whether you can, nobody really cares about...
And why that kind of attitude?
Andre, it's the same thing, no? We don't care about farming. We don't care about where things actually grow. What you...
the root.
Yeah, the root, no one cares. That's the sad part. You're more taken over by what's glorified, the outer packaging. You can put crap and package it well and people would buy it. But nobody thinks that the root is lost. It's as simple as when we don't care about food and water, where will you care about art? So.
I think one of the interviews I happened to see, Dunya Suri sir ಮಾತಾಡ್ರಂಥದ್ದು. He said, sir, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಹೈದ್ರಾಬಾದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಚೆನ್ನೈಯಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ದೇ ಮೇಕ್ ದೆಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇ ಇನ್ ಎ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ ಆನ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡನ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ವಿ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತುಂಬ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. Do you think so like that?
There is one, writing is a huge investment for a person who writes. For example, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ನು ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಹಿಮ್ 2 months ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀರಿ. He might write in 2 months, but to write it in 2 months, he should have lived for 2 years to bring that experience into 2 months of writing something. Now, who's going to pay him to live for 2 years? So it's unless you pay him enough that he gives you a script, and then he has to go live, he has to find new experiences. He has to live those experiences to be able to come and give you a new script. But nobody pays for those periods.
But do you think, does this happen only in our industry? And or like, I mean, since that you have seen Kannada, Telugu, Tamil nodidre, Netflix nodirodrinda, andre Netflix andre streaming site madodrinda.
See, this is worldwide. It's not Kannada. It's, I think, ella kade, unless you, like today, after 10 years, today I can put a good fee for my writing. But it took me to spend 10 years. And it took me to write and then also direct them, produce them, market them, distribute them, make them into a bigger hit. And only today they'll value the script. But an idea which I had written 10 years ago, nobody bought it, but now I'm making a Hindi film out of it. After 10 years, because of all these things that have happened. Why should a writer be good in directing? Why should a writer be good in producing? Why should a writer be good in distributing? But sadly, we have brought it to that.
My next question was the same thing. So as you said, writer antare, you have done a hat of writer madidira, then direction madidira, acting madidira, and you became a producer also and distribution.
So I'll tell you, adrinda yenagtide, you end up taking more time because ಈಗ ಒಬ್ಬ writerಗೆ fixed designation, give him a good salary, give him good recognition. The first thing is we don't recognize. There is no screenplay recognition which happens like there. I mean, first of all, okay, people don't understand screenplay. They'll just see which actor is doing the film. But I think somewhere in the industry, within the industry, they should know the value of it.
Correct.
So if you give him that value, if you tell anyone, what are you doing? They'll say, I'm writing. Their next question will be, so when are you directing?
Yeah, obviously.
So it's as though everybody's saying that after direct, you have to get there. And so you're subconsciously putting it in a writer that what you're doing is not enough. You have to become a director. Now he is with social pressure, with financial pressure. He will try becoming a director. And 90% of the time they fail because they're good at writing, they're bad at directing. Sometimes they succeed. Now as soon as you become a director, you're spending 2 months to write, 1 year to direct. And then you need 6 months to forget all this experience and go back to writing.
Correct.
But if he was just a writer, somebody is directing it, he would have written something else.
Yeah.
So this process is, I'm a living example why I write so little, is because I have to go through this whole cycle and then I have to take time to come out of that cycle and then see what is happening to write something. Is it because
of any external sources affected on you, or like is it like it's your own choice?
So when I write, it's more a personal journey for me. So I don't write because a film works. I cannot do that. I wish I could. I could have made more money. People
think that you have made a lot of money, Pawan.
So it is because I want to feel something. Like each of my film is a personal confession. Like if you go back to Panasare or something, I can tell you exactly what was happening with me in my life, in my head, in my emotional space, and why that film came out. And there is no film that is not connected to me. In fact, I picked up Laila when they gave me actually after they gave UTurn, I'd finished. We were in last release stage. So Laila came and I was very tired. The whole 9 months of doing this again. I just wanted to come home, stay home for a couple of months. But when they said what Laila was about, it was exactly the thoughts that was going on in my head.
Okay.
What the dystopian future or the projection of how our society is turning into. And I said, this is the material that I have been playing in my head, which I want to talk about, which I want to. So I immediately said, okay, let me move on to this. So if the material was not something that I connected to, I would have not taken it up, even if it was Netflix or anything. So for me, that material is very important. And I should feel like doing, like UTurn was a material that I connected to. I connected to that problem on Double Road Flyover. And that's why I wrote the film.
I think every film of yours, life o ishtane tagondre, it's a journey, like it's about different phases.
It's a point when I got married and then I wrote Life Ishtane. So I was going through the transition of having had relationships and then getting married to one person. And then I said, so how does life look when you look back? And that became Life Ishtane.
So then Lucia. So
Lucia was, again, there's no spoiler alert anymore. So Lucia was about I mean, so ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಮನಸಾರೆ ಪಂಚರಂಗಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, ಲೈಫ್ ಇಷ್ಟನೇ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಮೀ. ಸೊ ಐ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಅ ನೋನ್ ಫೇಸ್. ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಟು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ restaurants. We like to go sit at Darshini and eat and like a normal thing. But every time, and I'm a very inferior, like I don't want to have too much attention, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So alligala hodaga we used to constantly have people looking, pointing, or somebody come and talking.
But why like that? You always prefer to stay away from the limelight.
Yeah, somehow it's personality issues. So I would hate the fact that I'm being noticed, you know. So Avaga, the thought was that if me, who has just done one film, you know, is in the bigger picture of what stardom is, I'm at the really small level. And then I thought, if I am going through this, where I can't peacefully just have my own space, I thought, what a Sudeep must be going through.
What is the biggest thing? Exactly, yeah.
What a Puneet Rajkumar will be going through. And I said, maybe, so that's why Lucia was written for Sudeep, because I felt maybe Sudeep wants to get off on Madhavan Park and wants to eat Pani Puri. And I thought maybe he won't be able to do it. And that's the dream, that he wants to be able to do it.
Have you ever spoken about this?
Yeah. So, I mean, the seed was that, you know, like how a big star could be having such small dreams. And then it became everything else.
I think every film of yours, like ಈಗ ಸತೀಶ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಶ್ರುತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, then next to Shraddha ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, I think, do you play a lucky directors in all the actors' life? It's like our graph ತುಂಬಾ ಸೂಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ.
I know, it's their journey. You know, for me, none film they came across as the perfect characters.
Maybe I think you get the right emotions from the actors. Let me
I
put
also
it in this
cast as per my characters, and I go back to my script and also change to what they can do. So I knew Shraddha's strength and Shraddha's limitations. When you spend time with them auditioning, you get to know exactly. That. So I knew the same with Satish, I knew the same with Shruti. So when I'm writing, I don't push them to do something that I know they can't. I instead change my writing to match what they can do good.
So which one was easy? Directing Rachna Shraddha or directing Rachna Samantha?
Both brought a different flavor. For example, I mean, for me, I thought Samantha's could be tricky because I never worked with a bigger star.
Correct.
But she never behaved like one. So for me, she became a much closer friend than Shraddha and I were. And so it became very easy to discuss and do things with Samantha as well. And she actually was like a first-time actor, which I was surprised when we were shooting that.
Wow.
It was
after doing so many films.
After having 10 years of career. Yeah.
Wow. This is just out of the blue and out of the frame I'm asking this question. Have you ever thought of like one longu machu ಇರುವಂತ film ನ ನಾನು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ಯಾ ಯಾವತ್ತಾದ್ರೂ?
ನನಗೆ ಆ ಎಮೋಷನ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಹೌ ಟು ಫೀಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್.
ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ ಬಂದ
ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ವಾಸನೆ ಬಾಬು ಥರ.
So any producers have like walked towards you saying like I'm ready to produce ಈ ಥರ
ಅದು ಅಂಥದ್ದು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಈಗ
such situations.
ಒಂದು ಬಂದಿರೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ.
Very honest answer.
It's not like producers come to me. ಬಂದಾಗ ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಲೂಸಿಯಾ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸೆಟ್ ಅ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾರ್ ಆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೀ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ರೇರ್ ದಟ್ ಎನಿವನ್ ಹಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್.
ಸರ್, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ವೇರ್ ಡು ವಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್?
ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಡು ವಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ I mean, everybody is progressing, you know. Okay. Everybody is progressing.
Maybe the sugar coat words will happen, man.
And especially, I'm not the person to even be able to judge that or say. I can just say how it looks for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah. So, ನನಗೆ ಅನ್ಸೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ, I keep looking. I think Kannada industry stands where the audience want it to stand. That is what I've understood. You know, like learning from a lot of things. It's the crowd which is constantly deciding what kind of work is coming out. I used to think it's the other way.
Okay.
Lucia Madbekandala, I thought our audience are super ready for, you know, everything.
And it was true, Allah.
It's too small, you know, when you look at the numbers, because eventually these graphs, statistics matter. And you look at these numbers, you can have a one-off shot, one blip in the whole graph. How many blips have happened? Like how many Lucias have come out? How many examples? Like why is a Ulidaru Kandante a critical success but not a box office success? You know. So ee thradella nodidaga then you feel that it's a tricky journey for every guy who's trying to take it a little forward. It's never been made a bit easy.
Correct.
It's easy in the sense I'm saying don't cushion it up. At least say that you make, we will watch. You know, don't make everything, the process of making is anyway difficult because Correct. You have to be learning, finances, everything, which we have agreed to go through. But when you make the process of watching also difficult, then you are tiring every maker out.
See, I feel like when compared to a Telugu or a Tamil industry ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈಗ ತಮಿಳಲ್ಲಿ there are commercial films ಬರೋಂಥದ್ದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, at the same time ಆಫ್ ಬೀಟ್ ಆರ್ ನೀಶ್ ಬರೋಂಥ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬೋತ್ ದ ಜಾನರ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ತೆಲುಗು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಓಕೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಫಿಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಿಲಮ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಫ್ ಬೀಟ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಟ್ರೆಂಡನ್ನು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದಂತೂ ಯು ಆರ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಸೇ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಇವತ್ತು 2013 ಓಕೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ 6 years ಈ ಜರ್ನಿ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಡು ಯು ರಿಯಲಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಮೇಕರ್, ಫಾರ್ ಅನ್ ಅಪ್ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಮೇಕರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಸ್, ಒಂದು ಆಫ್ ಬೀಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪ್ರಿಡಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಏನಂತದನ್ನ ಆ ಜರ್ನಿ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋಂಥದ್ದು, ದಟ್ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ದೇರ್.
ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಯಾಡ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾರೋ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ 2008 ಬಂದಾಗ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ವಾಸ್ ಒಂದು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ,
ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
10 years later it's the same. You know, it's everybody while writing, while thinking has to think about ಇದು ನಂದು ಯಾವ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೈನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ವಿಶ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಬಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್. You know, I would say as a producer, if I knew that I had an audience which I could depend on, and I knew that I can spend 5 crores on a film, but I knew that whether it's good or not, because see, how do you decide a film is good or not? There will be times when something is not working for everyone, and it's eventually art which is perceived in a certain way.
Correct.
So it is. So when everyone says Lucia's a hit, I'll say it's the timing. You know, it was that timing of many things. You know, as a society, politically, everything matters. People's state of mind, and all that worked in sync for the film to work at the box office. Otherwise the film could have been like, maybe I would say Ulidaru Kandante problem ade. At that time box office didn't work for them because the timing didn't, you know, things didn't go around. But if the film is good, it will stay, which is why it's still talked about. So if the film is good, people will slowly talk. But what happened to the guy who put his money on it? You know? So it's,
and also I think, see, it all bogs down to saying like ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ wrong timing release ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ at the end of the day you'll be setting a wrong benchmark also ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
I mean, people will say no, ಅದು work
ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ, and eventually,
but you know, all said and done, this has been the process for it. Like I think Mani Ratnam's Iruvar,
1996, one of the awesome films,
but that bombed. So when now people talk about it, I guess I think it's a film idralli that journey has always been there. But ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು, at least there was no communication between the industry and the audience. Today we have a huge bridge that connects and everybody is aware of everything, so they can actually resolve the problem than being blind to it. You know, it's like Lucia was an example of resolving a problem in a small way. I'm just sad that it didn't go forward in a way it could have gone forward.
So when you were directing UTurn in Telugu or Tamil, so did you see a huge difference when compared to a ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಶೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ವೈಸ್ it was like 10 times more budget. Okay. So of course, so that was I mean, things that I would ask for was available. I didn't have to think of how to make it available. I mean, distribution wise, I mean, they sold areas, adella I never have that experience.
Production is, of course, as you say, like maybe the work culture or the discipline.
See, when you have so much money to spend, you will have more manpower. Correct. You will have more equipment. So things are at your disposal. So ಏನು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಅದು it becomes, you don't have to worry about it. I think it did about 25 crore business. Now ಇಲ್ಲಿ around 8.5 theatrical hangino. So if you, but everyone says that with UTurn there was no brand. No, so it did 8.5 is a great thing for
our market. Yeah.
And And UTurn Telugu Tamil, we had like huge brand names by then. The title itself was a brand by then. So
correct.
it did what it did for that industry.
So when is nicotine?
I think this is my
So it's like it has become
ಇದೊಂಥರ ನಾನು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾರಿಗೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ 3 questions that have remained over the time is ಯಶದೊಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಇದು ನಿಖಿಲ್ ಮೂರನೇದು ಬಂದು ನಿಕೋಟಿನ್ ಯಾವಾಗ
ನೀವೇ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನೋಡಿ.
ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟ್ರೋ. ನಾನು ಮೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ನಿಂತೆ ಮೈ ಓನ್ಲಿ thing when I get into a metro is like, please don't ask me that question, please don't ask me that. And irrespective of it, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಶಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೊರಾಯನ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಮೆಟ್ರೋ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯೋವರೆಗೂ ಯಾರೂ ಕೇಳಿರಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಒನ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ರೈಡ್ ಅವಾಗ ಯಾರೊಬ್ರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮದುವೆ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಾಗಿಲ್ಲ
ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಿಲ್ದಿರೋರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮದುವೆ
ಸೊ ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಈ ವೀಕಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಅ ಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋನ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಹಿಂದಿ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್. I'll know by the end of another 3-4 days.
3-4 days. Wow. ಕನ್ನಡ ಆದರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಯಾವುದು?
ನಾನು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೊಂದು ಡೀಲ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಥಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಕನ್ನಡ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ somehow manage and do it in Kannada. But let's see. I mean, I might try to do it bilingual. So we're in talks. Yeah.
ಬಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಯು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಈಗ KGF ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಬಸ್ಟರ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಯಾವುದು ಬಂತು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ದೇ ಸೇ. ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ದ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯವರು ದ ವೇ ದೇ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೀವಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡ್ತಿರೋಂಥ ರೀತಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡ್ರಾಸ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಡ್ಯೂ ಯು ರಿಯಲಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ?
ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ creates a awareness. I mean, it's sad that we have to talk about films creating an awareness about Kannada because Kannada is much bigger and it's sadly in today's popular genres mediums only it's become a film that has to do it.
Correct.
And so especially ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ತುಂಬ ಟಚಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ I see that what KGF did is it made these OTT platforms to take notice.
Okay.
I think somewhere before that we were the last ones.
Okay.
So OTT platforms have today come forward and they're thinking of, okay, now we have to open this. But it's sad that it required a film. They should have done it because there's an industry, because there is a state which talks this language and everything. But there have been many reasons why that's not happened also over the years. I mean, sadly, ನಾನು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಒಂದು ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ I saw the new Lion King trailer. And end, it still says Lion King in Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam.
Kannada
illa. You know, and I keep thinking that okay guys, we just did KGF and dubbed it in every other language,
but why can't we?
Why can't?
Yeah.
It's sad that Disney will not today consider Kannada as a market to dub their films. I mean, we know why it's happened so far.
Correct.
But I think it was time to change it. I was really expecting Lion King to come in Kannada, you know. Like nan Jungle Book bandag I made a lot of noise about it. It didn't go anywhere. But I thought at least now it should come. And,
it's high time.
Yeah, I mean.
But every time now and then, I mean, one of my very good friends, Nimgu Gottirtara, Harish Malya, last night he messaged me. So if you're interviewing Pawan, I want this question to go to him, Manta. So I think let me open that directly, read his message. It's better to do that. Okay, he says, Pawan, during Lucia, social media marketing played a crucial role. It was not manipulation, but really during early days. But now most of these work on payments. How do you think a filmmaker should make use of these social media tools in present scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I'm out of it mostly, I just have my profiles now. I just post.
Yeah, that's actually the next question agittu because ishtu active agidri munche ಈಗ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಈಗ ನಾನು ಬರೀ ಏನಾದರೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದರೆ I just put a poster saying I've done this. It's become very ಮುಂಚೆ it was a medium for me to actually talk to people. You know, I never used it as a marketing tool. It was never. People keep saying that I know the best ways to handle social media. It's not. I was just being one guy who's trying to talk to people who are following him. And I used to, if you go back and see my posts, it used to be very straight from the heart. If I'm thinking something, I would say, I wouldn't think of, is this the best way to say it? Is this the best way to get clicks or anything? ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಐಡಿಯಾನೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. And I think over that time, social media also changed from being organic to making it all payment based and everything.
Yep.
And I think somewhere people also, there was a change in the way the public behavior changed on social media. And I started losing the kind of connect with the person. You know, Munchela, I used to see some guy will come and there was an open discussion. I could say something and that person can come and argue and he can say, I don't believe in it. You know, and he would say, my perspective is this. And I would say, okay, that's a great way to look at it. And for me, I didn't know somebody can look at it. Today you put something, they'll say, okay, you're not 100 accusations. There's no discussion anymore. There's no gray area. It's very black and white. Either you are on his side or you are on the opposite side.
Absolutely.
And I can't take that. I think nothing is black and white. Everything
Have
is
you ever been
gray.
trolled by any chance?
I think by the time I think 1 or 2 when I ಯಾವುದೋ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಏನದು ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ rapid fires ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಏನೋ see I do honest answers, you know, I don't do fake answers.
I'm getting ready then.
So, and I think that has led to some once or twice, but considering I came out of it like about 2 years ago now, I haven't given them enough meat to troll me.
But do you really think ಇದೊಂದು ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ our industry is like not so open?
I'll tell you what, this is my understanding. Somewhere everyone has like our gods. You know, we have a form to our gods.
Okay.
And there are gods being created in the industry. And everyone wants to praise that one brand. For me, what I was against or what I didn't connect to from the beginning is that I don't like to praise a person for the brand he's become. You know, I want to praise him for the work he's done. And so if you say I don't try to create a brand for me, I try to create a brand for my work. I'm saying, well, I'm not a brand. I do a lot of horrible things too. You know, I have horrible thoughts as a person. And I'm a human being like you. You know, I'm as bad as you, as good as you. Ashtane. So, but if you want to see this instinct that I've been gifted with, an instinct to write, if you want to see the instinct that has been given to me, I don't say I've earned it. So, you know, some people get it. So I've been born with an instinct to tell a story or say something. So if you want to praise that instinct and learn something from that, please do. You know, I'm just putting my instinct out, and I might lose the instinct, or I might have already lost the instinct. I don't know. My next film will say it. You know? So just and what I see is when you put a person up there, you as a common person have figured that you can't be that.
Correct.
You know, precisely. And I somewhere don't agree with the people up there who are breeding this, who are saying that you look up. Yeah. For me, it is more like, why do I share all my making? I'm just saying that, look, this was my journey, this was my discovery, and I'm putting it out. If you want to watch it and if you want to build on it, please do.
Please do.
You know, that's like that's my perspective.
ಯಾಕೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂಸ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫಿಯರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಈಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಂಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೋ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ದೇ ಸೇ I'm just worried, I'm just scared of troll pages. So it's like, really ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋ ಹಂಗೆ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಾ ಈಗ?
It's true, it does affect. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ they see, when you're critical about someone's work, you probably would have attained the maturity to, and if they're critical, if they should have a grounding to be critical about it. Okay. And today we have given them the power, I feel. See, when I did Lucy or something, the trolls weren't there.
Correct.
And there were people sharing memes or everything, and the memes were creative. If you go back to looking at memes,
yes,
the meme was I enjoyed memes because they were creative, sarcastic, they were funny. And they used to be like those cartoons, you know, paper al baratala, where one line defines so many things. And suddenly it became, put one guy's face and say the most handsome man in the universe, put one face and say the most beautiful smile in the universe. And then So, like my first thing, then we started supporting mediocrity. Then we said, okay, this page has 10,000 followers. Then let's pay them to get our movies promoted. So one thing I've done is I've never paid anyone. I don't even know who the troll members are. Maybe they have contacted me.
You say 2016 UTurn admele ನೀವು ಇನ್ನ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ
ನಾನು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕತೆ. I didn't go that route. See, for me it is like you want to troll negatively, do it. You have the democratic right to do it.
do it.
You want to say good things about it. You watch something, it has made you happy, you do it. Why should I pay you to do it? If I pay you, then you're, even if you didn't like it, you're going to say the wrong things.
You'll say the wrong things.
And I don't want you to do that. I don't do any media buying because I don't like to be written about because I'm paying them. So I don't do media buying at all. So maybe that's why I don't get written about at all, which I'm very happy about. So it's ನನಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು when I used to do theatre ಅಲ್ಲ. So this culture I think started very recently, about a decade ago. So when I used to do theatre, and when I was our transition time only, when I used to buy newspaper, and we used to be like, if you find a picture and an article about a person, it was aspirational.
Absolutely.
For you'd be like, man, I want to get there someday. And today's newspaper is not aspirational. and considering we know how they occur there, it's absolutely not. So you have really made the younger generation not aspire in the last one decade by doing what you're doing. For me, my play on show ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ there used to be an article wherein we used to send out press releases and somebody used to give a little space for it. Today nothing happens because then they'll be like, this is how much it costs to write. This is how much it costs to.
I happened to meet one of the guys, like, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, what do you do? And he said, yeah, I'm a Facebook ಅಲ್ಲಿ I'm a TikTok artist and I'm a dub smash artist. I was like, okay.
It's become a profession.
It's like it's a profession. They say, yeah.
See, but again, we are older generation. We may not know what is working, what is not working. The young may connect to it. The young may hate that saying two old people talking. So looking at this conversation.
No, but talking about troll ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದಾಗ one of the things ನಂಗೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, this is like a Me Too movement which happened like in the last 1 year, I can say 1.5 yearly. Like we could see a drastic things happening across the social media to a large medium only, and it affected so many people's life and tanboda. So what's your take on this entire movement?
No, it's a good thing that things came out. It's a good thing that people have see, I think more than anything it builds some kind of fear. Okay. That you can't get away with things. You're scared to say something to someone. You're scared to not just, I mean, I'm a big guy, I can say anything. So I think that is what it created and which was required at that point. Did the movement, see again, like I said, we have come to a point in our lives, in the current society, where no one is thinking why they're saying something. There are no repercussions of what you say anymore, especially to a common man.
Correct.
You can go on Twitter, spend 5 minutes, and you'll be like, I don't want to be here anymore. Absolutely. So it's because I think somewhere where we used to see, there used to be a thought which says that, dude, you can't say this. You can think because you're thinking in your head. You can have a bad thought about someone, but you won't say it out because there is repercussions. Correct. And that would make you be a different person. Correct. Today you say it, no one cares. Yes. And but it does affect the person who leads it. It does affect the person you're directing it towards.
But do you think people who say that they're not even thinking of the repercussions and they're saying it?
Yeah, they're not aware. It's become like I feel everything reflects. The society reflects the kind of movies that become a hit. When you see a big hit film, just go and see. It may not work for you if you're a filmmaker from artistic terms. And you will see it's working because it's working at a very surface level. And it's working because the audience want to connect to it at a very surface level. And they don't want, neither of them want to go deeper. So and that's why it becomes a big hit. It's just take any big hit film. And just now, I'm not going to name any film. Okay, I'm just going to take any big hit film. Okay. And then just see, is this artistically a film? And then you see, but it worked with the audience. Then what does it tell about the audience? And what does it tell about the film?
So when it comes to Sandalwood ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ I mean ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಲಾಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ಸ್ಗಳಾಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಈ ಥರ ಲೈಕ್ ಗುಂಪುಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳ ಥರ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ ಮಿನಿ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋಂಥ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳು ದೇ ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಓಕೆ ಇಫ್ ದ ಮೂವಿ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಡೂ ವೆಲ್, ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಮೇಕರ್ ಹಿ ಡಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎನ್ ಎ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಲೈವ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸಾರಿ ನಂಗೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್? ಈ ಮಿನಿ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಅದು ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ? ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್?
No, ನನಗೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅ nobody who came in 2008.
In case if you have liked this interview, please subscribe our channel, Team Mayuraa, and the show name is Gold Class. ನನಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲೂ ನೋಡಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಮರಿಬೇಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಚಾನಲ್ ಹೆಸರು ಟೀಮ್ ಮಯೂರಾ, ಶೋ ಹೆಸರು ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಯೂರಾ.